2020 is seriously going to be amazing. It has been a stellar year for the series. I will argue it's the best so far. I will also argue that it will end next year with the final anime season debuting next fall. It will be fantastic. As the year is coming to an end, the holidays is around the corner. For the last chapter of the year, Isayama shared his holiday spirit with his fans with more of stellar content. It may be a coincidence, but I like to think that way. The last chapter's effect is still jarring. I'm still blown away by the revelation. If there's a picture that describes me perfectly, it's the chapter's cover with Ani's father in Paths. Even at Marley, he felt the presence of the tyrant known as Eren and received the message that everyone will die. Others in the crowd also felt the effect. At least they received the memo, so they can die knowing. Seriously though, the endgame is here. The good news is, Reiner is back. The bad news is, Reiner is back. I said this because his suffering continues, now with the sight of the world's end. If that wasn't enough, Falco was taken away by Connie and Jean. I remember the scene where it looked like Gabi was going to get killed off, with Reiner shouting and all. Of course, that would put a smile on some fans' face. That being said, she was actually in danger, but Reiner saved her. His armor came undone once the walls were destroyed. It's an interesting note on its own, but it's proven later to be incredibly essential. Poor Reiner once again failed to do something, whether it's to prevent the world's ending or protect the kids. I want Isayama to end his misery somehow, some way. At least he's not alone in suffering. Add Gabi to the mix with Falco missing and words from Reiner that pretty much say the world will die forever. I love the guy, but he's the last person to go for comforting words. True, with Eren in control of all Titans, no one can touch him, but this is such a downer. Reiner passes out, but Gabi has acquired Eren's special trait, refuse to quit. After all, she is drawn based on him in a way. She's off to bring Marley's warriors back alone. I got to credit Isayama for developing her well, growing up to a proper warrior. I know she started off really rough, but it was intentional, and she has gotten a lot better for a child who was manipulated. It gets better later on as well. Plus, she took good care of Reiner with food and blanket. Can't hate on that. The scene with Survey Corps regroup is really good. It turns out Jean and Connie did retrieve Falco, which would be tough for Gabi. What I like about the scene is the realistic reactions and damning questions that stem from long-term buildup. Jean sees Eren's action as the consequence for the world to take on Paradise Island, constantly citing them as the devil. Have they give them a glimmer of hope? This action may have been prevented. The startling part is, if the Survey Corps had a chance to prevent it, one will argue they did, but they didn't approach to Eren in a way that would have wisened. One will argue that they did nothing wrong. I can't really fault anyone, even Mikasa in the last chapter. It was tough to read Eren. Hell, I was trying to wrap my head around with clues and ideas on his agenda. The sickening part is, despite the fact Eren is aiming to mass genocide the world, it will benefit Paradise Island because his friends live there. In other words, this is fine for Survey Corps. Technically, they don't have to do anything. They can sit back and enjoy the fireworks with red liquid spreading. It's crazy when you think about the genre. Shonen focuses on the theme of friendship. Eren is certainly true to the core, but never would I thought on this level of mayhem. It's riveting to see a different exploit on the said theme. Although I said they don't have to do anything, there are normal titans killing their people right now. I'm not sure if we are supposed to be questioning on the thought of Eren not controlling them, but Zeke was the one that controlled them. Perhaps it's due to royal blood that they are negated from the founder's control. Then again, it's probably best to keep this in mind. After this chapter, all clues hints, and bills should not be taken lightly. Before stopping them, they have to do something about Falco. It's sad to hear them talking about feeding someone like Pixis with Falco to resurrect them. Yes, he's an enemy, but as a fan spectator, this blows. It heats up really quickly because Connie now has the chance to rescue his mother. I was wondering how that subplot will play out, but this is a direction that left me shaky. I credit Army to try to avoid a possible clash by keeping Falco alive. Eren is practically factoring resetting the world, so they might as well start over fresh. As good that may sound, Connie wasn't having it. All the build-ups to Connie leads to the outbursts that have him running away from his friends, taking Falco. It made sense, sadly. The guy went through so many hell and back without dying. He lost friends, death, or backstab, and the one opportunity to save his mother was about to be lost. These developments matter so much, like a video game with picking the choice to define a character's personality. As much as I appreciate Army, he had no rights to speak. He was resurrected, yet he's telling him that he has no rights to do that? Can't argue a shattered man. What a corrupted world. Although there's a massive sized Titan army, there are normal ones causing damages. Honestly, it's the best part. Well, minus the ending. The reason is due to the old familiar nature of the series. Not to say it lost its foundation, but the familiar atmosphere is a nice callback. The terror and devastation of Titans are once more pronounced in his last ride. Yelena looks defeated with her blank expression. I had a feeling it was coming, now that her dream is shattered into pieces. I'm not sure why Zeke wasn't controlling the Titans. Maybe he's still unconscious or just gave up altogether. In any case, she and the faction are in trouble. Speaking of faction, those who backstabbed Shotties recently are also in trouble. Karma is on full throttle. However, not all deserve. If there are people that don't deserve it, it will be the Bros family. What struck me hard is the very Titan that's attacking them. It's Nile. It pains me when I realize who it was. He was one of the few reasonable men that were kind enough to help the enemy. Now look at him. It's tragic. The sensation grows darker, with Kaya trapped with a Titan, reminiscing the scene when she lost her family. This was like a sick joke, but it's redeemed when the scene was truly repeated. Gabi shoots down the Titan with that powerful rifle of hers. For once, I'm glad the training benefits her well. She charges right at it, aim inside the mouth, and blasts the hell out of it. I have to admit, the way how she gunned it down was pretty damn cool. Sad for Nile, but it's best to put him to sleep. The moment reminds Kaya of Sasha when she saved her. History repeats itself in a crazy way. It speaks volume on Gabi's action. She didn't have to save them, but after her developments, it made sense why. It pays off well. What I really like is how the family continues to be possibly the best family in the series. The father still cares for Gabi despite all the mishaps. I am aware that they don't want any more fighting, but this is comforting for once. On top of that, there's a moment when soldiers ask them if Gabi is the same girl from the opposing side, and the one that defends her is Kaya. She lies about the identity, and Niccolo joins in to explain the gunfire was his action. They bought the story and proceed to protect the family. That's rewarding in many ways. It showcases how family can stick together, even in the darkest time. It also shows how one can forgive another. It's something you see in many series, but this one was done well, especially when considering their age. Both are young and trying to understand the reality. Gabi learned a lot, yet still challenged on the morality. Same can be said for Kaya, for she doesn't understand why Gabi saved her. Not to mention, she did try to kill her. That could have been karma itself. But fate brought them together once again. These kids are lost on their sense of morale, with their bloodlust thoughts or action. What does that make them? The devil? It's normal for them to feel conflicted. Niccolo puts it best. We all have a demon inside. Call it cheesy or not, it fits well with the series' nature. It's not like it was said to adults, so this was executed properly. I like the moral. It's simple, but relatable and understanding. The new cadets are about to meet their end. I know I said they are dealing with karma, but I think this was going too far. Luck has it for them, because someone arrives to save the day. Out of all people, it's Shotties, the same guy they pummeled badly. But it's nothing personal. What matters the most is saving lives. The man is a true trooper. To think, he recovered quickly to save those who backstab him. I know it was on a whim, but broken trust can be unforgiving. This moment was really nice. I wouldn't mind Yelena biting the dust, but lucky for her, I suppose, Survey Corps does come to rescue her and the faction. They did have a cool entrance with a nice angle shot from the inside building. Jean has become a true leader with his commands and leads. He has everyone back on their feet, rally up to fight back. The growth of these characters are paying off nicely. The best part of this retro sensation is the action. It's been a long time since we last have human versus Titan action. This is a pleasant treat to enjoy. The Survey Corps rally up and spring into combat, just like the good old times. They may be using updated weaponry, such as spears, but it doesn't take away the nostalgia. The emotional set piece comes in when Pixis and others approach to Army and John. It hits them with the callback to the time when Eren was positioned as the savior. They must do the only option, putting them to sleep before finishing them. Army and others express their gratitude, thanking Pixis for guiding them. It sucks that he and others have to die, but it's possibly the best send-off or burial they can get as Titans. Rest in peace to everyone who has transformed, but never forget who they were. If there's one person that I hope didn't make it out alive, it will most certainly be Floch. The amount of disappointment I felt when he reappears can't be measured. That punchable face of his irritates me to no end. Even John low-key hates the fact he survived. He speaks for us fans. He's all excited for the end of the world. All of a sudden, he points a gun at depressed Yelena and orders her to gather the volunteers, for he will arrest them. What the hell is with him? I pray this leads to his demise for his stupidity running too deep. Whether it's Yelena's time to die or his, I'm ready to say, and nothing valuable was lost. I didn't expect Gabi to reunite with Army and Mikasa, but I'm actually happy for this development. It's a good thing they didn't have a fallout or any bad blood left. Despite the world coming to an end, it sure has plenty of uplifting moments from many fronts. The only downside is Falco is held hostage by Connie. I know Gabi isn't like as far as I'm concerned, but I do feel sympathy for her. Again, she's a child that was manipulated coming undone, but sadly caused wrongful actions. She doesn't want to fight anymore. At the very least, reunite with Falco, who promised to be her man. There's some interesting notes coming from Gabi's outburst. If Eren has become the founding Titan, couldn't he revert back Titans to their old self? I don't think it's possible unless it's confirmed one day, but if so, that is a good point. It's pretty telling on her development when she pleads Army to stop Eren from destruction, since fighting is no good. If she was like her old self, she would be thrilled, though her family is still in peril, but you get my point. Lastly, going back to the first point, if Eren can undo the effect, does hardening count as one? This chapter is packed with greatness, but the ending is undoubtedly the show stealer. The one part that stood out to Army was the mention of Reina's armor coming undone. He remembers Eren saying all hardening will dissolve, and turns out he's right once he reigned the Titans. At that moment, I was muttering to myself, if this means what I think it means, for our last gift of the year, Ani has officially returned. It's about time. What was seen as a running gag has come to an end. This is how you end the year with a bang. What a year. In anime, it had an incredible season with the announcement of the final season. In manga, it delivered top-notch quality, keeping it strong like its heyday. Some would even say it's even better. Regardless, it ended the year with a great chapter. The nostalgic tone was riveting, the developments were paying off. For better or worse, the presentation is pretty solid with heartfelt moments, and the action was exciting. Next year already looks very promising. Here's to the new year with possibly one last ride. And that will do it for the review. I hope you enjoyed this one. I like how the chapter opens with Ani's father and then closes with Ani herself. That's pretty clever. What do you think of this chapter? Share your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.